Hey guys, Brett Weiss here. Welcome to another video. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. It's super helpful. I'm at the Electric Starship Arcade in Haltom City, Texas. This is a suburb of Fort Worth. It's between Dallas and Fort Worth. It's a great arcade with a lot of cool aspects, including an entire beat 'em up section. Some older arcades, some newer arcades, some pinballs, snack bar. It's an awesome arcade. Let's go in and check it out. And as we approach here, you'll see they're closed on Monday and Tuesday, and they're 21 up after 8 p.m., which is kind of nice for us grown-ups, like their sister arcade, Time Rift, which I did a video for recently. Now over here to your left, you've got a party room, and they've still got Halloween decorations up, which is really cool. And let's go in here, let's go to the left here, check out some true classics here, including Outrun, one of the all-time great racers. You guys know I love me some Tron. Check out that decoration above that. I love that. Always love the extra arcade toppers and different environmental effects. Q*bert, incredible. Return of the Jedi, phenomenal Atari game. And I just started playing that again recently after many years, and it took a few turns to get good at it again. Cyberball 2072, solid futuristic sports title. Let's go. We're gonna head into the Starship Theater. Love these Halloween decorations. Tempest, a tube shooter. One of the greatest arcade games of all time, in my opinion. Just excellent rotary controls. Red Baron, vector graphics, Atari game. You don't see that often, pretty cool. Robotron 2084, a top 10 arcade classic for me, for sure. Be Where I Live. Now, some of you commented on my Time Rift video that they didn't have Sinistar, where their sister arcade, Electric Starship, about 20 minutes away, does have Sinistar. Pretty awesome. Mad Planets, a tough Gottlieb game. I just talked to one of the programmers of this game recently. I was real proud of this title. Excellent stuff. Stun Runner, really cool futuristic racer there. That's awesome. Check out some of these graphics on the wall. Great environmental. And when it's not Halloween, they'll have some other figures up here on the stage, like some superheroes and whatnot. They've got a number of light gun shooters in this arcade, including Aliens Extermination, I should say. Namco's Lucky and Wild. The sound is always cranked up in this arcade for full effect. Beastbusters. How many of you guys have played or even heard of Beastbusters by SNK? Pretty cool. Another light gun shooter here. Going around, you can see there's more graphics on the wall. Space Invaders and Pac-Man. These TV screens will show movies and sporting events. Like if there's a big sporting event, especially in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, they will definitely show it on these screens. Pole Position, I love this game. Pole Position 2 was the Pac-Man title on the 7800, and the original Pole Position was a favorite of mine on the Atari 5200. It was in competition with Turbo, Sega's Turbo, which was on the ColecoVision. And check this out, Arkanoid Cabaret, a little tabletop cabinet here is really cool. You guys know I love Arkanoid for the NES with the Voss controller. And check out this really sturdy rotary controller on the arcade cabinet. And every good arcade needs a skee ball machine. This one's an ice ball. Pretty cool. Let's get one left-handed shot in here. See how I do randomly. Hey, 1,000 points, whatever. Ooh, cool Sinistar artwork here. Star Wars Battle Pod. Guys, this is one of my favorite Star Wars games. This feels so authentic. Created in 2015 by Lucasfilm. Phenomenal. If you've never played this game, seek it out. It is great fun. Not super familiar with this Sega game. Seawolf. Now there's an old arcade game in the late 70s called Seawolf. This is a modern version. Afterburner Climax. What's better than Afterburner? Climaxing while you're playing. Sorry about that PG-13 joke there, guys. Retro Raccoons, we saw that at Time Rift. This arcade has such great atmosphere. Love the wall art. And let's turn the corner here here's another of one of my favorite games here at this arcade is this excellent Batman game. Super cool. If you want to pilot the Batmobile, that is your game. They got an excellent collection of racing titles here, including Mario Kart 2 Arcade GP. Sweet. Cruising Exotica. Love that series. Play some two-player action here. Crazy Taxi High Roller. I love this game on the Dreamcast, and I haven't played, at least the original Crazy Taxi. I haven't played any Crazy Taxi in the arcades in a long time, but I love my Dreamcast and PS2 Crazy Taxi games. Arctic Thunder. Here's another one of my favorites at the arcade. It's got an environmental thing where it actually cools you off while you play, and it's a ton of fun, a fantastic racer. Again, we got some more Halloween decorations up here. I'm recording this the day after Halloween by happenstance. Now, a lot of you guys on my Time Rift arcade video said they don't have Dragon's Lair, and here you go. Electric Starship, Dragon's Lair right there. Dig Dug, phenomenal. One of the greatest maze games ever, and a top 10 arcade favorite for me for sure. Popeye, I love this on the NES and ColecoVision, and of course the arcade version's amazing. Gyruss, which has some of the best music of any arcade classic, absolutely phenomenal. Sort of a cross between Tempest and Galaga, fantastic shooter. Donkey Kong Jr., you guys know I love the NES port because it has all 4 screens, unlike the NES port of the original Donkey Kong, which just had 3. Zookeeper, I love this on the PlayStation. It's a fantastic port on a Taito collection on the PS1. As a matter of fact, I never played this game in the arcades back in the day, but I discovered it on that PS1 collection, and now it's one of my favorite arcade classics of all time. Phenomenal stuff. So you got to keep the animals pinned into the zoo here, for extra points. And if you can last the clock, you see your timer there. That's how you beat the level. But you can score extra points by grabbing those bonus items and keeping the animals in. Joust, one of the greatest two-player games of all time. Excellent action title. Centipede, I've told you guys many times, it's my wife's favorite arcade game, but check it out. They've got it modded here for Halloween with the little tombstones replacing the mushrooms. That's cool. Nostalgia, I've seen people jamming on this game. It's got a keyboard, pretty cool. Never played it, but man, people are really getting into it like they're a concert pianist. Now, before we get to the pinball row here, let's check out this fighting row with Mortal Kombat 4 and 2 and 1 and the new Mortal Kombat 1, which is very confusing. This is the original Mortal Kombat, and then for some reason they called this one Mortal Kombat 1. This is an excellent game with amazing graphics and gameplay, and just phenomenal. One of my favorite recent arcade games. Now, let's get to their pinball row. Now, for Halloween, they brought in the Halloween machine. This was in storage, but they brought it in to celebrate Halloween because they knew everybody would want to play it. It's a really cool machine from Spooky Pinball. Jaws is one of my favorite Stern machines, at least one of my favorite modern Stern machines. And of course, my son loves it, being a hardcore Jaws fan. Jim Henson's Labyrinth. Excellent game. This is a newer machine. Excellent ball physics and a lot of fun. Table toys there, as I call them. Like the little bridge and some of the little figures there. And great back glass with the video. Deadpool, really enjoy this one. One of my favorite superhero games. The back glass one on this one's a lot of fun with the video. and it actually shows some arcade classics in there. And I love the Insider Connected, the Stern thing where you can sign in to the pinball and compare your scores to gamers across the globe, I would imagine, or at least across the country. That's a lot of fun. Foo Fighters, I love when they have this machine cranked up where you can hear the great songs. As you guys know, Dave Grohl, the drummer for Nirvana, formed the Foo Fighters after the death of Kurt Cobain. And Godzilla, a lot of people love this game. This is one of the top rated games according to various fan sites among modern pinball machines. And then you've got Guns N' Roses. I love Jersey Jacks. They put out Elton John, one of my favorite pinball machines of all time, as well as Wizard of Oz, another favorite of mine. And this Guns N' Roses machine is great as well. Love this playfield with Slash's iconic hat and some video back there. Very cool. Stranger Things, another fantastic machine. I hope you guys have seen my video where I do the walkthrough of the grocery store where Elle buys Eggo waffles. You can check it out on my channel. Guys, here's my favorite pinball machine of all time. Now, Time Rift doesn't have this, but Electric Starship does. This is a fantastic machine. Not only does it have my favorite horror characters, the Universal Monsters, it's just a great machine. It's got incredible ball physics, great goals, excellent targets, and it's just a lot of fun to light up the different monsters and then do the Monster Bash where they'll form a concert, the classic creatures. Pulp Fiction, super old school. Purposely created this like an old pinball machine, which is amazing. Well, of course they purposely did it. It wasn't on accident. Now they got this screen where you can compare your high scores on Stern pinball machines. That's cool. And if you need to take a little break, you got your restrooms, of course. A highlight of any arcade. All right, let's check out the rest of the arcade, including the beat 'em up zone. And we got some candy cabs here, and with some great background decorations. Some people said that Time Rift didn't have enough shooters, enough shmups. I'm sure they might want to check out Arrow City. It's a phenomenal game. And every arcade these days needs 4-player Battle Royale Pac-Man. It's a great game, of course. Let's check out the beat 'em ups room, guys. Who remembers Showbiz Pizza Place? Me and my friend Glenn used to go into Showbiz, drink beer, play arcade games. Beat 'em Ups Alley. How cool is this? How many arcades have you been into that have a complete room dedicated to beat 'em ups? You got Final Fight. Now I love Final Fight CD on the Sega CD. Incredible. Although I don't like that it zaps your energy. Basically Final Fight, one of the noteworthy things about it is zaps your energy when you use the special move. This is a strategy, you know, so you have to use it strategically, but it's still a little annoying to use a special move and lose some of your energy. Double Dragon, as you guys know, the NES version left out the 2-player co-op main game mode, which was disappointing, but it still sold like crazy. RoboCop and Shinobi. Love playing Shinobi on my Master System. Now Contra, it's cool to see the arcade version, but the NES version is so much better. The arcade version has vertical graphics and it just doesn't work as well as the horizontal graphics on the NES. The spacing is just better. I just like the NES version better. How cool is this, guys? And the Punisher. This is a really fun beat 'em up that you don't see that often, but it's fantastic. Pit Fighter. Pretty cool. Check out Punisher in action. Isn't that a great looking game? I love graphics of that era. The sprite-based, large sprites. So cool. Digitized graphics on Pit Fighter. And then Smash TV. Not really a beat 'em up. It's more of a Robotron type free roaming shooter, but you know, Still a great game. And as you come out here, let's go into the Game Vault, the very mysteriously worded Game Vault with Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. There's a beat 'em up. That should go in the beat 'em ups room. Should replace that with Smash TV. Got some console action with Sega Mini and TurboGrafx Mini. Pretty cool. Yeah, the room of the mini consoles with the SNES and NES Mini. Again, this place has wonderful wall decorations. Man, when Guitar Hero 3 came out, I was all over it on the Wii. And prior to that, when I played Guitar Hero at my cousin's house, I knew I had to get that game. DDR's fun. I'm a little clumsy with it, but I still enjoy playing it. This is a beautiful Jurassic Park machine from Sega. Dark Escape 4D. I've never actually done this in this arcade. I'll have to try it out sometime. So I'm not even sure what it is. And I have played many intense battles at air hockey with my son Ryan and my daughter Katie. These days they can pretty much beat me at it, but I still get in a win here and there. Jambo Safari, check it out guys. If you're too far from Africa or you don't like getting bitten by bugs or being in danger from these wild animals, you can just play some Jambo Safari. This is a really neat looking game by Sega. How cool is that? I'll have to try this one out sometime. Chase HQ2, you guys know this Sega game rocks. Super exciting, a lot of fun. And no arcade. Oh, well, I guess you could say some arcades are complete without foosball, because Time Rift didn't have one, but that I recalled. But I love foosball, and I remember one guy I played against it was surprised how good I was, being an old fart. I said, man, I grew up playing foosball. And check out this soccer game, is really neat. I love these really tactile games where you twist the handle and you're actually moving the player with that. A lot of fun. Sort of like foosball, but it's called Super Kicks. And let's carry on back here to Deal or No Deal. I believe that's based on is it Howie Mandel that hosts that show? The game show on TV. Off-Road, you guys have probably played this on the NES. Tekken Tag Tournament, one of the all-time great fighters. Dude, Rastan, I first played this at Bronco Bowl in Dallas, this bowling alley and concert venue, and I was blown away by the excellence of this hack and slash gameplay. And the graphics are phenomenal. And one person on the Time Rift video even commented that Time Rift had no Rastan, and he was really disappointed by that. Electric Starship, there you go. Never played this one before, but it looks interesting. Contact E. Big Buck Hunter Pro. Guys, if you're not a hunter, if you don't hunt game, even if you're not a hunter, try out these light gun shooters. This is a really fun game. I played this at Budweiser, the factory tour. It is so much fun. It's a great light gun shooter. Got some wrestling games here. Not my preferred genre. I know a lot of you guys are hardcore wrestling fans, and I get it. It's an incredible category, a great genre that a lot of you guys love, but I've always been more into regular fighting games and boxing games than wrestling, but you guys knock yourself out, so to speak. Carnival, how perfect for Halloween, this light gun shooter. Lethal Enforcers, man, I invited a couple of friends over years ago to play Lethal Enforcers on my Sega CD, and they had so much fun. They weren't gamers at all, but we played some Lethal Enforcers 1 and 2, and they really got a kick out of them. Just a couple of good old boys. Zombie Raid, another light gun shooter. Man, this arcade really specializes in light gun shooters. Pretty cool. Silent Scope, another light gun shooter, just loaded down with them. House of the Dead 2, love House of the Dead 3 on my Xbox. Man, if there's one genre this arcade excels in, it's definitely light gun shooters, including Aliens Armageddon, Terminator Salvation. And here's another screen where they show sports. And you got the Empire Strikes Back here. Let's check it out. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Nice environmental cabinet there. Ooh, a Neo Geo candy cab. Gotta love that. A lot of you guys love Golden Tee. I'm not really much, I play some golf games. You know, I play the ones that I write about in my books, but it's not like a go-to for me. But I've enjoyed quite a few over the years, like Tiger Woods on the Wii, where you could swing the clubs. Odyssey 2 Golf, I played that a lot, and of course Atari. Little hockey game is like the soccer one we saw earlier, or whatever that was. Guys, Polybius, it's true. The myths, the legends, it's true, Polybius. Google Polybius Arcade if you want to know the story behind that. Love Tester. Oh, Michael Myers, come out of nowhere. Frogger, as you guys know, my brother's favorite arcade game back in the day, and he could kill it. 1943, a lot of you guys know that the NES version of 1982 is not, or 1942 is not a very good port, but 1943 was a very good port, very well done, and the arcade version is great. One of the more notable early vertical scrollers, 1942 and 1943. Missile Command, my friend Jeff Cooper, Pac Family. You old school gamers might know him from the Digital Press fanzines. He had Missile Command at his house. Loved that game. He was so good at it. Excellent trackball shooter. Gauntlet. The first time I saw Gauntlet in the arcades back in the day, I was amazed about the 4-player action. That was really unusual at the time. Even though like some home consoles like the Atari 5200 had some 4-player games. Gapless, the sequel to Galaga. Excellent game in its own right. The bonus scene is really fascinating. Look how many ships you can line up. And you spell out bonus up there. Really cool. You guys know I grew up playing Asteroids and mastered it. Punch Out. Most of you probably played this more on the NES than you did in the arcades. Great, what you might call a platform shooter here in Aliens. I love Alien and Aliens, the movies. And I love a lot of the games based on the property. You can have Alien 3, the movie, but I love Alien 3, the game, especially on my Game Gear. Ghosts and Goblins, yeah, the arcade version is hard, just like the NES one is. Check it out, guys. It looks a lot like the NES version. The NES, they did a great job of adapting Ghosts and Goblins to that console. No, it's not perfect. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass to try to beat, but a solid port graphically, and I love to play it. Space Invaders, Silver Anniversary Edition. Every arcade needs Space Invaders, too classic. And of course this one too. Not everybody has to have Galaga and Miss Pac-Man in the arcade. You might as well have this 20th reunion version where you can have both. Turtles in Time, Essential Beat 'em Up, and Alien Syndrome. Look at that cabinet topper, love that. Space Harrier, play that on, I actually prefer the Space Harrier 3D on my Master System. It looks beautiful in 3D, it's a great port. 32X version's great also. Nice fun extreme football title here. Rampage, Brian F. Collin, a good friend of mine that designed this. I never could warm up to Rampage. The gameplay just kind of left me cold, but I know it's popular and classic. Aliens vs. Predator. This is a great beat 'em up. Fantastic. Let's get a look at some of that cool gameplay. Gorgeous graphics. Afterburner. This was another one of those titles that the first time you saw it, you were amazed by the speed and the graphics. Neo Geo. Let's hear it for Keith Apicary. Let me know in the comments if you know who Keith Apicary is. Simpsons beat 'em up. One of the all-time greats, of course. Just look at that. So cartoon-like and such excellent action. I love that each character has character-specific weaponry. Burger Time. As you guys know, some of you may know that there was a console-exclusive sequel called Diner on the Intellivision that was hard to find and amazing. Burger Time is one of the greatest climbing/non-scrolling platformers of all time. Had a bunch of different sequels for different consoles. Like there's a Flintstones version of Burger Time on the old Game Boy. It was either the Game Boy or the Game Boy Advance. Can't recall off the top of my head. Bentley Bear from Crystal Castles has a new platformer on the 7800. That's so cool. And I love the trackball on this with the glowing red. Check out Bentley Bear in action. It's a super cool maze game. Very creative, very different than any other maze game. There were so many Pac-Man clones that Crystal Castles really stood out. Spy Hunter, phenomenal, dynamic game, but man, it's fast and difficult. I've talked to a lot of people that found Spy Hunter very difficult. And of course, you got two of the all-time classics here in Donkey Kong and Pac-Man. And a third, NBA Jam, featuring voice effects by my good buddy Tim Kitzrow. And Street Fighter, the original 1987 Street Fighter. All of you guys have probably played Street Fighter 2, but the original Street Fighter, it's not as good of a game, but it's cool to see the original version. Got a little fighting row over here with Champion Edition that you might have played on the Sega Genesis. And then Third Strike, Street Fighter 3. Pretty cool. You might have played that, I believe, on the PS1. And over here by the snack bar where they have a variety of hot dogs. You've got Terrordrome, which I've never played before, and Tapper, one of my favorite arcade classics. Now, this was kind of a disappointing on the port on the ColecoVision because the characters are a little washed out and it's not as accurate as some of the earlier arcade ports like Donkey Kong and Ladybug and Venture. But you know what? The Atari 2600 port is surprisingly good. This is a great, really highly original action title. I love it. And here's your snack bar with, you know, just your typical ballpark type food and a variety of beers. And this row is in the middle of the arcade. I've been told I must play Killer Queen. I've heard it's a great multiplayer game, fantastic, but I've just never taken the time to play it. Star Wars Trilogy Arcade. That lightsaber action reminds me of the segment in the Star Wars Pinball machine, and I'm sure the Star Wars Pinball for the Switch, and I'm sure it pays homage to this version in Star Wars Trilogy Arcade. Narc, Say No to Drugs. Who remembers Nancy Reagan's Say No to Drugs campaign? Pretty much an epic failure, but that's a story for another time. Paperboy. This was another one of those games that was surprising when it came out in the arcades because of the handlebars controller. Really unusual at the time, and what makes this version, the original arcade version, unique. Marble Madness was a huge influence on Super Monkey Ball. You might not even have Super Monkey Ball today if it wasn't for Marble Madness. Just a terrific game, very unusual gameplay mechanics. Check it out, where you're guiding a marble around. Really unusual physics with trackball control. Yeah, that's a fun one, guys, if you've never played it. There's some good ports. They're really good port on the Genesis. It's pretty decent on the NES also. NFL Blitz 99, also featuring voice effects by Tim Kitzrow. And man, the massive 4-player X-Men, maybe my favorite beat 'em up of all time. And I love playing as Cyclops. He's my favorite character. Love those blasts out of his eyes. Midway Open Ice, heard that's a fun hockey game. Midway Revolution X, Music is the Weapon. Played this in Galveston of all places, in some weird shop. They had like 2 or 3 arcade games, and for some reason Revolution X was there so randomly. But I've got that on the Super Nintendo, and it's kind of mindless and repetitive, but it's kind of fun. And of course, Aerosmith, love Aerosmith. Another wrestling game, WrestleMania, one of the more popular titles. Mage, The Dark Age, never played that one. Killer Instinct. I recently wore the original jacket that was given to employees at Nintendo. And if you guys have checked my social media, you saw me and my coworker Sierra wearing these jackets. Pretty cool stuff. If I remember, I'll put a picture at the end of this video of me and Sierra in those jackets. All right, guys. That's pretty much it. Let me know in the comments what you think of Electric Starship Arcade. This is an amazing place. And now I'm gonna go, I'm gonna exit here. Maybe before I go, I'll play some games. Let me know in the comments what was your favorite game you saw. here in this arcade, and let me know what was your favorite arcade game of all time. Thank you very much, guys. We will talk to you in another video.